front gate.
Yeah.
We don't have to go on, but we have a party. Where do y'all live now?
We live out in Montgomery,
Okay.
out past the Woodlands.
And Bailey spent hours and hours putting a
Yes.
book together.
I
Well, they
can't
have
wait to
lots
see
of books, I maybe didn't
Well,
need to do
let's
it.
see.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Show them yours, Bailey.
Well, yeah, where is
They
she?
all-
did,
there are
Who has it?
lots of
Oh, here it is,
books.
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to look at
Yeah,
it.
that's her book.
That-
Cannot. Thank you for doing that. That's so wonderful.
Well, and this is the history. I've always told it the way it was told to me.
Okay.
And the newspaper articles that you'll read give a little different story of
Mhm.
it. So I was really glad to come across this because this tells the story from a woman in Singapore that knows it the way I heard it from
Good.
Ralph.
And
So
she
I
was
think
there at
this
the
is
time
right.
and worked with
And the
the
newspapers
orphans
just
and all,
skewed
helped
it
to
a
get them
little bit.
ashore and all that. And so she is
Just a-
writing from
It's
being
such a big
there at the
puzzle.
time.
It's just putting all the pieces together.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. It's so great. Here we go.
There we
Moving
go, the
on.
man, the moment.
I just man, German.
Well, we were in Vietnam at the end.
Tell everybody your name for the camera.
I'm Ralph Neighbor and this is Ruth. And we had gone to be missionaries. We were in Saigon. The war was collapsing and we were trying to get out and the Foreign Mission Board would not allow us out. My son was picking up spent bullets in the garden, stacking them on his dresser.
According to
And,
height.
We finally were able to evacuate on an Air Vietnam flight with a military colonel as the pilot handcuffed to the steering wheel. So he would be sure to bring the flight back after we landed in Singapore.
So Saigon to Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
By then, we already knew that we had emptied the treasury to give Mr. Ha the money to get the boat. And he had taken the orphans from the orphanage. And the missionary up there in the Highlands was a really solid guy. And he helped them buy this boat.
That wasn't Ty Cope, was it?
Well,
Ty Cope,
I go.
Mr. Cope.
He was a
No.
mission, no, he
Okay.
was a missionary.
Wasn't Taco.
Okay,
I
thanks.
can't remember his name now.
But
Was
it was a
Jim
missionary.
Gale?
Was it
Was
Gene
it Jim
Tennell?
Gale?
Huh?
Was it Jim Gale?
No,
No.
I know it if I heard it, but that's not it.
Okay.
But anyway,
Tennell.
they had emptied the treasury of the mission, given it to Mr. High. He bought the boat,
Mhm.
and you know how the boat got swamped. And if you were the year and a half boy on the boat, you had skin blisters all over your body
Mhm.
from the heat
From the heat and the sun.
of the sun.
Wow.
And so they were pulled along by a trawler. Singapore did not want anything to do with the war. And the trawler cut the rope and let this boat drifting. And the Singapore police towed it into St. John's Island, which was exactly the distance of St. John's Island in the Bible, where St. John was on the Isle of Patmos. And they had already put it together with barracks for drug addicts. And so the whole island was a prison for drug addicts. And they put you guys in there. And dear Prissy misses one point here, it's not much, but I was the one that got the word that you guys were out there, and I gave it to Bill Wakefield, who was the head of our mission. But we had just flown in, and we were staying in a bungalow without any furniture, sleeping on mattresses, and you guys were on the island.
Yeah.
And it was late at night, maybe 10 o'clock, and a young policeman with his hat down, so I couldn't see his face, said, "Are you Ralph Neighbor?" I said, "Yes." "Here." He handed me this. He said, "Goodbye." And I opened it, and here was this note from Mr. High. He knew I had gone on, and so I immediately contacted Bill Wakefield and Prissy and another one of the girls, talked the police into taking them out to see you. At the same
Guess they
time,
could get away with anything.
at the same time, we went to the U.S. Embassy and told them what was going on.
This is in Singapore?
Yes.
Okay.
And the embassy contacted the Singapore government, and the government said, "We don't want any connection with this, but we will help." So they gave a check for $10,000 US to the embassy, and they gave it to us. And these ladies went into all of the stores and bought shoes, dozens of shoes, and people couldn't figure it out. And they took fruit, and the lorry went back and forth with the two ladies, and we would meet every day and get word about what was going on. So then the U.S. Embassy contacted the refugee center in Switzerland, and they flew a man out.
Oh, wow.
And I met with him and with the mission, and he took a look at the whole situation and went back, and the next thing we knew, there was an airplane that was going to come and get you guys
From Geneva.
from Geneva.
Yeah, air.
So we waited at the dock, and you came in on a police boat, and they had buses with the windows covered with paper.
Wow.
So no one could see you because they didn't want anybody to know of your existence in Singapore. And we had sworn that we would never tell anyone that the government had given us this money.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big thing. So we followed you to and the buses to the Swiss Air flight and watched you board that
I have
flight.
I have a picture of that. I'm gonna try to find it real quick. Yeah, I have a picture of us on the Swiss Air flight.
Wow.
But keep going, keep going.
And so before all of that happened, we had to have from the refugee center a guarantee of who would receive these
Okay.
people.
Yeah.
And I knew Cal. He and I had been in a home group together, and we were almost like brothers.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
I called him and I said, "Cal, would the church be willing to take 93 orphans?" And what did Cal say?
Who is this? Said it's 2 a.m. in the morning. Before robocalls.
Right.
Yeah, now you wouldn't.
And by faith, Cal said, "Sure, send them off."
Sure.
So
He told me after the fact.
I volunteered you.
After the fact, we found out we had agreed to let them come
Yeah,
out.
Oh,
Well, I knew your hearts, so.
there you
that
go.
helps.
At some point, can I tell something I forgot to tell?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you reminded me, Mr. High told me this, that when he decided to take the orphans, he told each orphan, he gave them a sack and said, "Put what you can in this sack," and he gave them one bag of rice. And he marched them to the sea. I guess Cameron is not on the sea.
I have a picture of us with those bags.
Oh, my.
And
well.
every time, every
Oh.
time, and these, you know, the oldest ones were like Dot and Hawkreen and a few others, but every time they would go through a checkpoint, immediately after they had gone through, the message would come, "Don't let them through." So it was
Wow.
really a miracle.
Wow.
Every single checkpoint that they went through, as soon as they had passed through, the checkpoint got the word, "Don't let them through."
But
So,
they've already gone.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's just God's doing.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
for a while, the engine on the boat worked, I think, and then it
Yeah,
It
died.
gave out and
Yeah.
nobody would
Died.
take them.
And
Finally,
when
Somebody
that,
said a Chinese
the
ship
Chinese
towed 'em in.
trawler
yeah.
towed
Yeah.
you so fast that they swamped the boat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
Water.
everybody was bailing
Yeah,
water
water.
like mad to keep you from sinking.
But at least they were being towed to Singapore, and that's what they
yeah,
needed.
right.
So what happened next after your phone call to me at 2
I'm
in
gonna
the
pass
morning?
this picture around. This is the picture of us the
We
day we
did
left with our bag, with the
Okay.
little
So
bag
who
that we
took
had.
those pictures? Mr. High or?
Oh yeah, and I'll share this with you guys too. All the pictures are.
This was in Cameron?
Yes, that's the day we left. See the little bags that we're
Okay.
carrying,
Yeah.
and
well,
that's
they
me in the
said-
red
They said
right
you had a little
there.
ball of rice
A
in
little
it.
bag of rat
Yeah,
rice.
take a look.
Yeah,
I'll pass that
okay.
around.
Sam, is that it right there? Oh, no, that's not it.
No, that's when we got
That's
there.
Buckner.
But go ahead.
I thought there was a big,
So,
there's something else.
That was my part in it.
Yeah.
I guess I had met Mr. High in Singapore somewhere along the line in those last days.
That's it. That's the first time you'd
He
met him.
knew me,
Oh.
you see.
Well,
He
he's
knew
the
I
only
had
name
gone.
that he had.
The only name he had for Singapore was me. And so he had told this young policeman, find Ralph Neighbor. So I had already registered with the government.
I want you to see this before we pass it.
That's sweet.
That's all of our belongings
Oh,
in a
my.
bag.
Well, everything you could
That
get in the
little bag.
bag.
Sure,
I
that
guess
did
if
let
you
us.
had other
Ralph?
belongings, you just had to leave
No,
them.
yeah.
It was mainly rice, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, they had their bag
So-
and a bag of rice.
My mom has told me this story for as long as I've ever wanted to know it, but the way she's told me is that we got to Singapore and they weren't letting people in, and that Mr. Ha sent a note to a policeman,
Handed
to
it
a
up.
missionary,
Yep.
That was
and
me.
that missionary,
That
Which-
was you. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the incredible, we're out in the water, how are we gonna get a note to a
Yeah.
policeman, and then the policeman actually gave it to you.
It was divine.
Yeah.
Excuse
Is
Oh,
a
the whole
miracle.
thing was just a miracle.
But
It's a
he
miracle.
would have been punished perhaps if they had known he had brought that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
He had to
But we
slip it
didn't
to
care.
me.
yeah.
He had surreptitiously.
And so I told this story about a year ago to some folks up in Kingwood, Texas, as what I call a bunch of golf ladies. They're just retired women. And a lady came up to me afterwards and told me that she was in Singapore with her husband, who was working for an oil company that day, and remembers just hearing on the street that a boat full of orphans actually made it into the
Wow.
port.
Wow.
She remembers that
The
day.
top secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
They were
through
scared
the
to
Americans,
death
they
to
knew
say
what
that.
was going on,
Yeah.
and she remembers that.
Yeah.
So
Ralph,
just a random person in Kingwood, Texas.
Didn't Ralph, didn't you take up the last collection at Huckran's Church in
Oh, yes,
Saigon?
that's another story. I took it.
That's where
we
Mr.
allowed-
Ha
oh,
found
we
out about
we
you.
finally sent it to
So
the
Huck
board.
Green lived in
Cause
Saigon,
Huckran
not in
blabbed to
Cameron?
him. I guarantee you. Go ahead and
Yeah,
finish.
do you have any more?